Hello, everybody, and welcome back to ABM Answered, the quick-fire demand generation and ABM video series, or at least that's what we always aim for. Today, I'm excited to be joined by Pierre Vanderfeesten. Pierre, have I butchered your surname there, your last name? Was that okay? I'm English.
It's okay. No, I know. It's Vanderfeesten. It's typically Dutch. So my name is half French, half Dutch, but I'm 100% Dutchy, based out of Utrecht. Pierre Vanderfeesten. Yeah, I've been working in marketing for my entire career. The past 6 or 7 years already, ABM, fully ABM focused, and really happy to join you, Sam.
Thanks. Yeah, I honestly half French, half Dutch. I had no chance as an Englishman, did I? Trying to pronounce that.
No. It's set up for failure in my name. It's actually funny
So,
because Van der Feesten means, well, it's a party name. Van der Feesten is party in Dutch translated. So often people make jokes of it. I lived in Spain as well. They call me De las Fiestas, but for English people, I'm safe.
superb. Well, hopefully this is a party. I like that. We're coming in hot with the energy.
Let's go.
So yeah, as I said, I'm joined by Pierre here, and just run you through the rules, Pierre, and viewers. I will be giving you a set of questions to respond to all about ABM and demand gen, and in this episode, we're taking it back to the basics, for sure, because that's where all good ABM, ABX campaigns start from. The questions have originally come from or been based on the data we collected at Mixed Reality Rims, where 1,000 marketers had gone through and stated what their biggest headaches and challenges are. Because we are big time now, Pierre, I joke, but we have started to include previous guest questions as well. So we might go off on a few kind of curveballs there. But yes, Pierre, are you ready to dive into question one?
Let's go.
Cool. So question one is the problem or challenges all around sales and marketing alignment, which I know you have no problems with, or you clearly implement good systems to kind of deal with this. But on that, what is your process of aligning marketing and sales? Like, how do you get them on board?
Yeah. So that's of course the question that everything starts with, and also with the alignment. It's key for success, right? So, in my opinion, it all starts with in the overall go-to-market strategy already. So it's a sales, marketing, and also leadership question. So what does our ICP look like, right? Which elements make that a client is an excellent fit to our organization? And based on that, together you determine list of accounts that match these characteristics, and you come to tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, right? That's the start. During execution, it depends really on the program, type of ABM program you're running. My expertise is in one-to-one and one-to-few ABM. One-to-one is really you're part of the team, integral part of the account team. So together you go through the goals, challenges, objectives of the account, etc., and make sure and that the messaging that we want to bring across is in sync. And for one-to-few ABM programs, it's really on it's the main alignment, in my opinion, is before the starts, making sure that you have the right accounts, have the goals, objectives, and communication strategy per account. It's a light version compared to one-to-one. It's mostly the BDR or the SDR that's running execution with the marketing team, in my opinion. So, and as you mentioned, sorry, from getting them on board, it is quite simple, in my opinion. My story is always, you will get dedicated campaigns spreading the message you want, you as a sales team want to spread to the key stakeholders within the account. Never a miss, and the results do the rest.
Okay, and on that, I try and keep the follow-on questions to a minimum just for time, but like I am curious. You mentioned like obviously it's got to be like an organizational movement. You have leadership on board, especially if you're new to ABM and kind of getting it up and running. How much involvement does leadership have in convincing? Who's driving the conversation? Is it a case of marketing bring it to leadership and say, hey, ABM is a great movement, we should try it, and then leadership get on board, and then they go to the sales team and they influence sales to work with marketing? Or is it always marketing's job to go to sales? Obviously, account selection is a question we've got coming up, but like, what's that involvement from leadership to kind of get sales to work with marketing?
Yeah, so in my opinion, so it is an excellent question, I think. So in my opinion, the name account-based marketing is actually not the right, it's a weird name, right? Because it is a marketing and sales, a joint effort. But I think it came from the fact that marketing never worked account-based. and sales and customer success and also leadership were focused on accounts always. Have always been focused on accounts. So that's why but in my opinion, it starts with leadership indeed. And you should have an ABM lead that is basically the referee in this target account selection process, right? Marketing is leveraging the data, so the buyer intent data, all the data that we can find. And sales has their own insights and their own preferences and often their own network. And this has to collide and come together into a list. If there's one party that signs off the list, in my opinion, if you have to choose one, it should be leadership. But if there's one party dominating that discussion, it should be sales, because we are talking. It has always been sales. Sales has been working on these accounts. They have objectives already. They sign off the final list. If it's and yeah, that belief.
For sure. Okay, that makes a lot of sense, and we'll unpack that further going into the next question, which is setting ABM objectives. So,
Yes.
how do you decide on what your objectives for your ABM campaign are? And it would be, take it whatever way you want, but I always like to try and think of it through the lens of someone who is just starting out, maybe piloting an ABM program.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. So, in my opinion, objectives is always it's kind of a weird subject. It's super important, right? But people coming from, let's say, lead generation or other types of go-to-market strategies, coming to ABM, they're always into, okay, we need to prove ourselves. Like this is well, in the end, the results should be business-oriented, right? It should be, in my opinion, the main objectives and KPIs that you need to sign off with the leadership team and sales team is, okay, we have this list of accounts. How many people within these accounts have we engaged with? Have we reached? How many have we engaged with? Have we engaged with or have engaged with us? To what stakeholders on our list has sales been able to make a connection, either via LinkedIn or email or meta event, etc. All the way, and this is all still a bit fluffy in my opinion, but it's to prove basically that we do a good job. The main targets of the team should be meeting set, opportunities generated, so pipeline generated, pipeline velocity, and closed won deals. Right? These typically sales objectives, but this is what the team should be working on. We are working on accounts. It's not a playground anymore. We don't need to prove ourselves anymore. This is hitting the objectives as a team.
Yeah, I love that. There's no fluff there. It's black or white with you. That's super. The answer I always get on this show is it depends, which is totally fair enough because it does depend. But I do like solid answers.
Oh, it does. It does. I can go through all the different variations and programs. Yes, but in the end, I think it comes down to this.
For sure, especially at the top, no one cares about anything else, really. Question 3 or challenge 3 is target account selection. So we kind of spoke about that previously on sales and marketing working together, but chronologically, I would say if you could lay this out, this would be perfect. What's your process of selecting target accounts? Does marketing do its research before it talks to sales? Does it start with sales and then go and do its research? I don't know. Over to you.
Yeah. So the way I work always, it can depend per person, of course, but my success formula, I would say, is based on data, marketing creation, initial list, right? So we have the ICP, we have the target, so we have the ICP, so we can find, let's say, the tier 3, all accounts, all companies that match our ideal customer profile, basically the accounts that are an excellent fit to our organization. That is number one, right? It's in most cases, it ends up being the tier 3 of your target account list. Every company that could be very interesting for us. I always run campaigns initially on these tier 3, these long lists of accounts, right? So we upload them into specific media platforms, run some campaigns, and if it's a pilot program, especially, then you get, after a couple of, let's say 2 or 3 months, you get data back, right? Engagement data. So which accounts are actually engaging with us through social, through LinkedIn, but also via our website. And we have come up with some sort of engagement score. This engagement score is brought into the meeting with sales and leadership, saying, okay, yes, very good. Step 1, we found all the accounts that match our ICP. Now we have some real data that we think that these accounts are coming into buying mode. It's still a hypothesis, right? The longer you work with this, the better this data becomes. But in the beginning, it's just, this is what these accounts know us. They have seen our name and they're actively engaging with our content. Then sales goes to a list saying, nah, this one, let's try this now. This is not happening now. And they go basically through the list. And then it's a discussion together, because also sales has very important insights from partnership. If partners involved have very good insights. They can determine whether an account should be on the list or not. Whether they engage or not. So it's a combination, but my process is ICP long list, run campaigns, get some data that underline your story of these companies are in market. Align this list of in-market companies, could be theoretical, but at least it's a database way of working, to sales. Sales goes through a list, and eventually you come up with a target account list.
That's super solid and exactly what I asked for. Is there a pre-step to this where instead of starting with the tools and the data, well, there's so many spin-off questions to this. This could be a whole episode in itself of how to select the perfect target accounts. Is there like a pre-step to get like maybe pre-initial buy into this like whole alignment piece where you go to sales and be like, who do you think your best customers are? Give me like your top 2 or 3. Yeah. And then going back to the list, it's like almost like chicken and the egg, right? Because you want to come prepared with something, but also kind of, I don't know, in my opinion, degree, you kind of want to. Yeah.
I completely agree. I think that's, in the ICP, even in that discussion already, my way of working is indeed give me a list of, let's say, the top 10 customers, top 5 customers or whatever in terms of, and they always come back with revenue, right? Because the sales team is their main objective is getting some revenue. That's how the COM model works. But then I challenge that also based on CRM data, right? So are these really our best fit our best customers? They might be really high in bringing in the revenue, but they also bring in a lot of operational costs. Maybe our own teams working internally are getting their heads are crazy whenever you even mention the name of the customer. So indeed, you find you find alignment on which are existing customers that really match. And then based on that, you try to find characteristics of these customers, and that eventually determines your ICP. So it's a combination of insights from the sales teams, CRM data. I think CRM data for me is leading always, because I'm a data guy. Data hits the point. Also with leadership, can be sales has a lot of good insights. As I mentioned, in the end, sales is leading the list. So they need to finally sign off the list if someone has to choose. Very valuable, good stakeholder here. But in my opinion, data tells the story initially.
That is a phenomenal response. Objection well and truly handled. No, good point. A good point on like the actual cost. You are right. Sales just want to make that money. I mean, don't we all? But like actually, like what's the profit on those deals as well? What's the obstacles to acquire them? That makes a lot of sense. We are running behind, and that is all my fault for all of my curious questions. You've got me thinking too much. But next challenge: account research. So you've got your list, right? What does your account research process look like for ideally one-to-one, one-to-few, one-to-many? But if you just want to take one of those, because I know, as you mentioned, your preferences, feel free.
Yeah, cool. So I can go through all. I think before starting, I think AI tools they have helped this process a lot, right? So basically, what I recommend my clients to do, I consult companies, of course, and I am also for some companies I'm the ABM lead. But I always say you have to train your own AI bot on your company, import some documents, right, URLs and data from accounts, let's say annual reports, etc. Run it into your ChatGPT or Copilot or whatever AI tool you're using, and ask for relevant information for your business, key stakeholders, etc. So that's been a massive help, especially for one-to-few and also even one-to-many. Still, you have to go through it. It's never perfect, so without cross-checking, you shouldn't take everything for granted, because it does make your story, right? It's a very important element of ABM. For one-to-one, it's even more crucial. So for my clients, we always do very extensive account research, even building executive profiles. So the main stakeholders, who are these people? What sports do they like? Do they like wine? All the way through their career. How has their career been built? What are their strategic objectives right now? In which key programs are they involved? Which are they leading? Which are they running? Can we find interviews on these people? And that forms, let's say, for one-to-one, the main messaging. We call it the messaging house. So we have built a framework built especially for that account on all the messages you want to bring across. And for one-to-one, you have the resource to do that. You don't have it to one-to-few, so you have to be a bit smarter there in terms of use of AI tools. That would be my answer, right? So it's definitely scalable with all the AI tools to do this for a lot of accounts. But for one-to-one, they are way too important to use AI. Maybe in the beginning, but there is a lot more research necessary.
That's a phenomenal breakdown. So for one-to-many, one-to-few, it's almost like, well, you've got the 3 tiers of personalization. Tier 1, it's human level.
Yeah.
Tier 2, account. Tier 3, industry. For one-to-few, one-to-many, it's just Tier 2, Tier 3, often than not. For Tier 1, it's all 3 of those, right, combined together.
Yeah.
I also think you're so right. And I built my career initially on like outreach systems, Apollo. And with ABM, you can't, especially for one, I think we're almost getting too greedy. It's like ChatGPT accelerates research so much, but like these AI agents, hey, we'll just click this button, we'll do it all for you. I think the tools we build at ABM Answered as well, just off like the feedback, they just need to get you to that point, but there needs to have that human verification before you can click execute on anything else, or it just takes away the complete sentiment of what ABM is, which is like personalized.
I agree. In my vision also, because I think I mentioned OpenAI instead of Copilot. Of course, I meant Copilot. I think the entire Microsoft suite is also coming together to this control that needs to happen in the. I mean, for example, Microsoft owns, of course, Outlook, right? It's Outlook. Before you even send out an email, there has to be a cross check for whether this is fully Copilot based or maybe some things could change. Anyway, this also doesn't help this discussion. It's just a personal vision of mine. But I agree. It should be some control. Never trust them 100%.
And we could go down another rabbit hole here. Yeah, tier 2, tier 3 personalization, the parameters as well for AI, in my opinion, because I think it's an interesting topic, because I did a workshop on it yesterday. There's less chance of it going wrong, right, of what AI can pull in. Whereas if you try and automate your tier 1 personalization, it's like it could pull in random blog posts that have nothing to do with like what your offer is. And I think like with account-based marketing, I'm leaning heavily towards this now of like just almost sticking to, if you are going to automate stuff, it's got to be, there's only so many, it's like a bowling alley with the ramps up on the side, you know, it's like there's less chance of it going wrong. Whereas at tier 1 personalization, like where account human level, it could go off in so many different directions. And it's just like you're trying to tame too many wild beasts at once.
I agree. Just last thing on that. Yeah. AI can definitely help also for one-to-one, right? So an excellent question is, if you have the key stakeholders there, what events are they attending this year? What events are they speaking this year? You can ask this in ChatGPT. You get a list of all the events, and then it's just to the sales team. Maybe you could visit this event because your key stakeholders are there, right? Or even on the research side as well. It's definitely a good start, but the higher you get in terms of personalization, the less important AI becomes, in my opinion.
For sure. That's a great little tactic as well on the events front. Speaking of, challenge 5, engagement channels. When it comes to engagement strategies, and I've kind of spun this question. Janelle Amos asked this question. She said, what are the top 3 things you would prioritize in an ABM strategy today? But like specifically, I kind of want to hone in on engagement channels. What are like your 3 non-negotiables, or like what are the fundamental ones you turn to first?
Yeah, I think everyone will give you maybe the same answer, but I think LinkedIn is crucial for one-to-one ABM. I'm a big fan of LinkedIn. For my clients at least, which are all enterprise sales, they all do enterprise sales. And so LinkedIn would be, for one-to-one at least on the marketing side, non-negotiable. Then there is, I would say, events, but as personalized as possible. And email and direct mail, those are also, maybe those are 4. Let's say direct between brackets. Direct mail is also often undervalued, I believe. You can do some great stuff in personalizing your outreach via direct mail. But email, of course, email is part of the equation as well.
What are there any crazy direct mail gifts? I love asking this question that you've sent out or you seen work.
Yeah, well, it really depends on the budget that's involved, and also, I mean, we've done some nice stuff. I think during COVID, it was, of course, we were one of the first that had these digital events because everything went digital right from the start in 2020. So also our events became digital, and we thought, okay, how can we make life of the attendees as attractive as possible during the day? Because it were full day events, or let's say 4 to 6 hours or something. So we sent over all these boxes with all things to do during the day, with an excellent lunch, with the wine, with all kinds of special things for this company. The gift boxes, etc. And those were delivered to the houses of the people, so they had to give their home address, which in the end quite a lot did. So that was a funny one. And yeah, you can go as crazy as you want. In the Netherlands, people, we are known for our stroopwafels, so those are sent by Dutch companies to other companies. Yeah, you can go. Video is always a QR code, handwritten. So there's a lot of, we do now do everything handwritten with AI. AI is out there, so you can send out 1,000 or 2,000 handwritten. It's of course it looks handwritten, but it's automated by AI. And you have the personalization in there as well. 2 accounts, and then with the QR code to the registration page of the event, all kinds of things that you can think of.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've heard some wild ones. Yeah, I'm so sorry. We're overrunning slightly. Have you got any few more minutes, or have you got a hard stop?
Yeah, no, I think I need to jump off in 35. Is it good? 7 more minutes?
Okay. That was my fault for asking the following questions. I'll quickly rattle off a few more.
Okay.
Content creation. We kind of. Content creation. How do you approach that? How do you translate the research into creating content for accounts?
Yeah, so let's start with one-to-one ABM because I think it's the most exciting one. So all content is super personalized, right? Even events are personalized. You have event account dates, etc. Ideally, but on the content side, you basically have all these messages that are aligned with the sales team that are based on the research, based on the executive profiling, and they end up in a messaging house, as I mentioned, right? With pain points, the value that we deliver, and how it helps them achieve their objectives. All these points are in a messaging house, and we make sure that they all come back in our different pieces of content. A video, for example, super powerful, right? So create personalized videos for accounts. You can go deep on that depending on the budget, but they work as also via LinkedIn. Very, very nice to see the engagement levels there boost to the top, and also hear the reactions from the companies, all the way through microsites for the web pages, especially for the account with the most relevant information, all personalized, and demos that you record for the account, all kinds of reports you write, whatever. On the one-to-few, it's often in my opinion, one-to-few programs are often categorized around an industry, right? So you can't cover it all, especially because you need to create good content. We say, okay, we have now a campaign running for financial services, so we create financial services content. We organize financial service events to make sure that people come, etc., etc. So that's for one-to-few, and one-to-many. It's not doable, in my opinion, or you have to. Yeah, you can automate. You can do some automated stuff.
Maybe AI avatars mixed with that AI level research in the future, but it's a little way off for now.
I agree.
Last question we'll do because I know you've got to jump. I love this. This came in from Cassandra Gulia. She asked, "How have your thoughts on ABM and demand gen evolved over the last 12 months?"
Yeah, it is a good question. How has it evolved? Yeah, so my thoughts haven't changed per se, but what has changed is the speed that things are going, especially here in the Netherlands, right? So in the Benelux region, let's say Netherlands, the last 12 months, both demand gen and ABM gone through the roof. There's really yeah, let's go. So that's good. I see that back in all the requests that I get for my business, of course. But yeah, that has been the major change. I've quite some friends and relationships in the business as well, and demand gen, etc. We were always feeling like, yeah, we call calling in the desert. I think is it English? Yeah, right. So no one's answering. Things were really, I think in the US were already going very fast. UK as well, probably. We were lacking a bit behind, but now that we are definitely getting there. So there's a lot of movement in the area.
I love that. The theory for me here is like now the less growth at all cost and like budgets have tightened up. It's actually gone back to you need to just ABM for me is just good marketing. It's a
I agree.
good practice. So it's
I
kind of
agree.
gone back to basics.
I
Yeah,
agree.
I won't ask you the last question, but like, do you have a question for our next guest?
Yeah, so I have a question. And yeah, I have actually two questions, but let's keep it to one. So if you could change one thing on the way marketing and sales are working together nowadays, what would it be?
Okay, so if you could change, all right, a current process or
Yeah.
current alignment issue. Okay, that's a great question
Yes.
because you're like critiquing something as opposed to suggesting almost something new.
Yeah, so things can change, of course. And now, I
Mhm.
mean, all the processes within companies are set. If you could change one of these things, what would it be? And what?
Yeah, that's a phenomenal question. I'll get that asked. I will
Thanks.
stop the interview there, but everyone go buy Pierre's book if you can speak or read Dutch.
Yeah. I
We
have
can
it
plug
here,
it
by the way.
in the
Blinded.
bio.
It's called Blinded by Leads, verblind eyes now, and you can't read it, but it's called Blinded by Leads: The Power of ABM. But it is in Dutch, unfortunately.
Is there an audiobook version or
Yeah,
like an
but not in
online
English.
version?
Yeah, that's it. Yes, but not in English.
All right, so you get two benefits for one. You learn about ABM and you get Dutch lessons. I mean,
Yes.
what's not to love? Pierre,
Exactly.
thank you so much for
Thank
joining.
you. Thank you so much, Sam.